Hi. So, I want to talk about my absolute favorite thing to talk about, which most people will know what I'm talking about. Um, but I want to talk about dominance theory. A lot of people argue and like to argue about dominance theory. Is it true? Science has proven it's not true, but then there's people who use it who say it is true. And I just kind of want to clear up. Well, I guess I can't really say I'm clearing anything up because this is basically just all my opinion. But I feel that there is something to dominance theory because you can't say anybody who's lived in a multiple dog household cannot honestly say that there is no such thing as dominance theory, that there is no such thing as dominance. Because if you've ever lived in a multi-dog household, like I do, you will see that there is something to be had. However, I don't feel like it is as big of an issue as dominance-based trainers make it out to be. I don't believe that dogs are constantly fighting to be top dog, because basically if you look at the history of dogs, not wolves, dogs. If you look at the history of dogs, we have been breeding dogs selectively to work with humans. And for dogs nowadays for people to say dogs nowadays are constantly fighting us for dominance, it just wouldn't make any sense, because the entire time that we've been breeding dogs as a species, as a whole, to work with us, we have been breeding that out, basically, for every breed, including breeds that worked independently. They still had to work with, even guarding breeds, they really had to know their home and they really had to know their place, because what good is a guard dog if they attack the owner, if they attack the person that they're trying to guard, keep safe. However, dogs as a species are social animals. Being social animals, there really is a structure to the way they live. And while it may not be as clear-cut as wolves, there is something to that. But you also have to see that in every species of animal, whether it's a social animal or it's not a social animal, birds, fish, reptiles, penguins, lions, dolphins, chickadees, squirrels, it doesn't matter what it is, there is a difference in personality, including humans. We have the more passive, we have the more anxious, we have the more dominant, the more outgoing, we have everything. So in dogs, yes, you do get the dogs that are more outgoing, that are more domineering in their personality, that do have a tendency to be bolder, to step up, to take control over situations, just like you have people like that. And the dynamics change just like people. So for me, myself, I'm more of a domineering person. I'm more of a dominant personality. I'm more of the person to take charge, to step up and say, okay, this is what we have to do, and I'm not afraid to step up and do it. But in some circles, if I'm around somebody who has the same kind of attitude that I have, sometimes that will tend to make me step back a little bit and be a little bit more passive. Sometimes when I'm with my mom, sometimes I can step back and be a little bit more passive. So dynamics change, and it changes for the same with dogs. And some dogs you have, they don't want to change their place. They don't want to step back for other dogs. Like my female that I have, she is passive to a certain point, and then, after that, she'll butt heads. While my male, he's always passive. He doesn't have any reason to butt heads. He doesn't want to. So to say that that dogs are not dominant, have no dominance whatsoever, I just can't buy that. I can't. However, like I was saying, it's not like wolves. With wolves, their pack stays about the same. I mean, new puppies are born and they grow and they find their place and they make their place. But with dogs, they are flexible. They haven't been forced to live in large packs. They aren't forced to have a social structure because it's not based on survival. Maybe if feral dogs often tend to have more of an obvious social structure as who's leader, who's follower, who's, this and here and where. And the reason is because, they really depend on that structure to survive. Dogs in your household, not so much. So while I don't, everybody fights over Cesar Millan, and I really get where he's coming from when he tries to talk to people. However, I don't agree with him 100%. To be honest, I don't agree with any trainer 100%. I don't agree with positive-only reinforcement trainers 100%. I don't agree with, clicker trainers 100%. I don't. But, to say that there is no dominance, that there is no real pack mentality in dogs, I can't believe that. And I really don't see how people who have ever had, if you've ever had a really truly domineering personality dog in your household with other dogs, and have had them butt heads, that's a pretty big component to a multi-dog household, is being able to keep everybody balanced, keep everybody understanding, okay, here's your place in the household, here is as far as we'll allow your dominance to go. I don't believe things like alpha rolling really helps at all, to be honest. I think when people say that it works for their dog, I think that possibly they have a nervous dog and it scares the bejeebies out of them to just suddenly be grabbed and thrown to the ground. Or sometimes you have a dog who's anxious, and when you put them on the ground, it just helps them relax. But a lot of people, they don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand when to do things. They don't understand how to properly do things. And I think it's best if they don't even try dominating their dog, because, like I said, dogs have been bred for hundreds of years to work for humans. And it's not like nowadays. It's not where, a dog, oh, well, he's such a nice dog. It's okay that he only bit us out, he only bit that child out of fear, or he only bit my husband out of fear. We'll have him spayed or neutered and he'll just stay a pet. No. People didn't feed dogs that didn't work. If the dog couldn't do the job, it wasn't fed. It was put down, it was sold, it was never bred from. The only dogs that would be bred from were dogs that were worthy of being bred from, dogs that could do their jobs. Because people were not willing, when dogs were first really, being bred to work for us, a dog would not be fed and taken care of unless he contributed in some way. So if that dog was bad at its job, even independent breeds, and by independent breeds I mean breeds that were sent out to do work independently, such as guard dogs, not herding dogs, but livestock guard dogs, ratters, dogs like that, dogs that a lot of terriers that would be sent out to do their jobs, and even they had to have some sort of a relationship with their owner. Because if they didn't, you know, they weren't they weren't really anybody's dogs. They were just, they would have, you know, they wouldn't have been anybody's dog. So you really have to open your mind up and not really look at this in black and white, because it's not black and white. Dogs aren't black and white. Dogs are not either this or this. You know, you have the whole component of everything. You have the personality, you have the instinct, you have the breed. So it's just something that you can't, in my opinion, you can't take this or that and cut it right down the middle. As far as correction goes, as far as clicker training and positive reinforcement and no punishment and alpha rolling your dogs, I don't believe that for any dog it really needs an extreme of one single training. So I will leave it I will leave it at that. I know I'm going to take a lot of shit for this video, because so many people just either they absolutely hate dominance theory and say that it's not real, and then you have other people who say that's the only way you can train a dog. You can't bribe it and you can't throw treats at it, and you're gonna have a horribly mannered dog, and it's not gonna work. And so feel free to leave comments, but